The information provided here is for general informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. We strongly recommend consulting with a qualified professional to address your specific needs. We are not liable for any decisions made based on the content provided. Elevate, an audio series by Above It. Thanks to Above It Money by Level Up Loans. Elevate your finances today at aboveit.com.au/money. Here's your host, dentist, investor, mum and coach for health professionals, Dr. Vicky Prokopiou.
Welcome to today's Elevate podcast. We have Irene Becker, who is the founder of 99 Au Pairs and is recognized for her entrepreneurial spirit. Fellow entrepreneur here, amazing, and her leadership, earning her a place amongst top small leaders by Inside Business magazine. As a mother of three, Irene has first-hand experience with the challenges of mum life and work-life harmony for working parents. That's what we're here for, working parents, right? She created 99 Au Pairs out of the need to address these challenges, leveraging her 8 years of hosting experience and insights from extensive research and focus groups. Irene's vision with 99 Au Pairs is to provide flexible in-home care solutions to support working parents, particularly mothers, in maintaining their careers without compromising time with their families or with themselves too. Isn't that important?
100%.
So welcome, Irene.
Yes. Thank you so much. So glad to be on your podcast, Vicky. And listening to this, I'm like, who is this cool chick? I want to hang out with her. I'm like, oh yeah, right. I forgot.
Well,
you're so busy between nappies and school drop-offs and running interviews that you forget to actually take a moment. I was like, oh yeah, she does sound. She's done a few things.
Well, how fortunate are we that we get to hang out with you today? So lucky.
Pleasure is all mine.
Oh, thank you. Well, let's get into it. First question I have for you is, how can health professionals, because this is what Elevate's all about, uplifting health professionals, helping them live a better lifestyle and be mentally clearer, happier, and generally just enjoy life. So particularly those with unpredictable schedules, because sometimes you're left to work late at work, or you've got your own business and then someone's sick, so you've got to fill in. How to best utilize services such as yours, like 99 Au Pairs, to ensure that they have that work-life harmony and that mental well-being?
Yeah. So trust me, this is my favorite kind of person to work with. Yeah. Busy, working, parents, moms in particular, career driven. And I think what makes it really easy to get the best out of services like ourselves is be very clear on what your needs are, right? Like think of, where do we struggle most with? Where do the emotions escalate, right? Where do I run out of steam? What are the tasks on the daily that takes the most energy from me? But then also, what are the wants? Where do I want to be in 3 months' time, 6 months' time? And that's the hardest question, because when I ask parents, like, what do you do for fun? They're like, what do you mean? Right? I don't remember.
So true.
So once you are clear of what your needs are, again, just talk about your values, right? What's important for you, for your children? What are the tasks? And then where do we want to get to, as in what we want our life to look like, ideally, right? Then I can work with that, and then we know how to fill the gap.
Absolutely. And obviously those that you support, they've got to be open and ready to get that help. So, and even if they're at their wit's end, there is help like yours out there. And what I love about your company is that you support both the families and you continue to monitor and keep in touch with the families and with the helpers as well. Am I using the right term, helpers? Yep.
Yeah, au pairs,
yep.
helpers. The
au pairs and those who are nurturing your children and caring for them and also helping your life. So I think I absolutely love that you have that continuity of just checking in, which is really nice.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I think it's really important, because we need to look at both sides. If the au pair or the helper is not happy, right, it's not going to work. So nobody's winning there. So it's important to check in and have another person to just like sense check the temperature. Are we still appreciating each other, right? Are we speaking the same language of, if that person is words of affirmation, right? Are we mentioning often enough to say, hey, you know what you did with Nikki today was great. I really appreciate it. Or, you know what, I was so pleased to come home and see there's no laundry. Oh my God, how good is that, right? And that again just keeps regenerating, that support and that love. But then also emphasizing how important communication is, right? Because after a while, once we feel like everybody's clear about what's to do, then we fall into the relationship trap of taking things for granted. And that's also the moment where things start to taper off and the engagement falls as well. So we make sure that the engagement remains high, and then we give au pairs also new challenges, so it's also interesting for them.
Absolutely, because they're here, some of them are here to explore the world, right? But they're also here on a mission to help the families that they're helping. And so it's great that you have a really close check on them too. And in what ways can your services with the au pairs be tailored to meet those unique needs? Because I know every family is different, every schedule's different, and especially for health professionals who are juggling a lot of things, a lot of responsibility, and who are exhausted. Because look, every job's mentally and physically exhausting, but when you're dealing with services with people, it just adds another level. So those who need a more flexible or irregular childcare solution, or those with special needs children, are they a family that you could help out with?
That's exactly the family we work with. And the key is we go with the premise that your family is unique, right? There's no cookie cutter. We have individual understanding and calls to say, again, what are your values? What are your biggest challenges? And it will be different even for the same client at a different stage, right? Depending on how old the children are, what's happening. They might have moved places, the children are moving schools, etc. It's really important to understand what is important to them at the time. Yeah, and sometimes we are better hosts and sometimes we're not, depending on how much emotional bandwidth we also have, right? We have things happening in our life, in our careers. As you say, sometimes we have really career setbacks or really challenging times in our jobs where we are just not as present. So just understanding those things and then communicating and relaying that to potential candidates and actually screening towards it. So sometimes we tell the au pairs, well, your schedule will be 30 hours, but one week you might have lots of hours and the next week you're basically off. So it actually also allows candidates to travel, and be away. And it gives the family also the space to just let their hair down and be themselves. Yeah, just like the children at 4 p.m. when you pick them up from childcare and school, they're just themselves and not the nicest version, right? So we want us as families also be ourselves. So the best thing is to find the right person for your circumstances. And when we work with parents with children with special needs, it becomes even more important to understand what the requirements are for the child as well. Is extra patient, right? Especially empathetic, right? Somebody who has experience working with children. We have a girl now who is one of 10 children, right? And worked with children. So her host mom's like, oh my God, you have more childcare experience than I'll ever have. And it makes all the difference. But again, it's part of the screening process to find the right person for your family at that time. And that will change over time as well as your needs develop.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of? I've had to, because I've owned business, my dental practice or practices, because I've had 3, and I've set them up, and I've done that through motherhood. And it reminded me of my husband coming home. So he used to work, we were in Coonabarabra, and he used to work in Dubbo every day, an hour and 40-minute drive plus every day, each way. And so we were really out of sync. And he'd see one day that really broke him was seeing one of our kids sleeping under the reception counter. Because that's what was more comfortable, was playing down there, and that was it. Obviously on a little mat, but nothing, no mattress. And he thought that's what changed us. But if we were able to accommodate for the au pair or an au pair or somebody to help us in that way, because we were at a really tricky time, new business, IVF, new family, and that made him sacrifice his career to look after the kids and help me run my practice. And you know what? We haven't looked back since. We tried separate ways and then went back to him helping. But I know a lot of people don't have that flexibility, and that's where you can get someone that you trust who will assist you with organizing your life, like an au pair.
Yeah, and I think the belief that you have to do it all yourself is just so wrong. I don't know where it came from, but it could not have been a woman or a mother, right? No sane person would come up with this concept. And I saw a quote recently saying, "A child does not need a village, a mom does." So I'll change that on my website, because you had a village of support for the mom, right? Because now we have full-time jobs and careers, demanding careers, and people to look after, right, on the job. And then we have children who also need to look after. And then we also have houses that need to be maintained and run, right? So it's not possible, and it will take a toll on our relationships, right? It will take a toll on our energy levels, on how we show up for our children, right? And at the end of the day, we end up sacrificing ourselves, right? That's why it's the hardest question for any mother I interview is, what do you want, right? And they're like, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean? I've never asked myself. Yeah.
I know that is necessity, but what do you want?
Yeah.
And I think it's really important. So, and understanding is that schedule is a schedule, but every week we sit down and we go through the schedule and say, actually, on Monday, I need to do X, so I might be an hour late. And on Tuesday, actually, I need to get out earlier because I have this important meeting. And hubby is away for a work trip for Thursday, Friday. So actually, we are on our own. Let's divide and conquer. And every week, again, the schedule might be, the basic schedule is there, but then obviously, Tommy falls sick on Friday, right? So we need someone to jump in and just basically be the wife. Yeah. And I don't mean the mother. Yeah. Every mother needs a wife to jump in and say, okay, it's fine. I'll just hang out with him at home, right? You just go about your business. And I think that's so important to understand that life with kids, no day is the same ever, right?
Oh,
so, and that's how we work. Yeah.
And it's so great that you understand it, and that communication has to be a two-way thing, because I'm sure the au pair has needs and also the family has changing needs. That flexibility, I think, is something super important.
100%.
Yeah.
If we appreciate our au pairs the way we would want to be appreciated, right?
Yeah.
And then we also realize our partners will start appreciating us more as well, because we communicate boundaries very well, and we delegate, and we don't mother.
Yeah, and that's very common with women. We're expected to do everything, going on that comment, do everything, be everything. And exactly, I don't know where that came from, because that's impossible. And then how do you care for yourself? So this also frees you up to take time away from the noise, away from work, where you can actually be you and figure out again, well, what's fun? What is it that I love doing? I know that you have a lot of different professionals in your as clients. So from those who are health professionals, because I would love to focus on that, because it gives us a connection listening to the Elevate podcast. Could you give us some success stories or examples of families or situations where there's one or two health professionals in the family, and how they've benefited from using 99 au pairs and your services, and what the key factors were in their success to make it work for them?
Yeah, 100%. So I think the key with health professionals is, first of all, they don't have a 9-to-5 job, right? You have, depending on what your job is, where you work, you might have rosters, right? You might have night shifts. We have flying doctors, right, that go away for a few days. That means you need somebody who is flexible to cover those hours that are fixed for the kids, right? They need to get to childcare, they need to get to school, they need to be picked up at certain hours. And there's not even formal services that cater for that, right? And what if you go night shifts? You need another adult in the house while the kids are asleep, right? So they're safe just in case something happens. So one example we had, so 2 doctors, one is studying for the next level, because as doctors you always do, right? It never ends. You realize after
high achievers, that's what we are, all of us.
And for them it was important that they have the au pair is basically like the cool auntie that gets the kids to school, picks them up in the afternoon, makes sure they eat healthy stuff before they move on to junk, they get to their play dates, they get to their activities, and they're ready for dinner when the parents come home, if they're home, right, on time. If not, then obviously she puts them to sleep. That was really important, and it gives the children the stability, right? Because often it ended up for the parents, they had to drag the children for their call-outs, and children need to be in bed by 7-8 o'clock. They don't want to be in the car at 10 o'clock at night, right? Just because you as a parent don't have an option. I know I don't want to make anyone feel guilty. You need to do what you need to do at the time, right? But at the same time, you also feel guilty because actually your child is exhausted and he just wants to be home, and he just wants to be, just chill, right? Or not to be in after school care. And again, just let themselves go and be comfortable. So that's a big example of how an au pair can help bring a bit more stability, even though your job doesn't offer it. And another example where one of the partners is a doctor and the wife is doing another career, is actually was limiting her career because he was going in and out all the time. And with having an au pair, they actually again had that stability. And he said, I am looking forward to come home now.
Oh, how nice.
I know that my wife is looking forward to see me, versus being upset and slightly resentful for leaving her with children alone, and obviously all the stresses on her together. He's like, now I come home and they're having a great time. And he's like, I want to be part of this.
Yeah.
Right? So really, really important. And for those, especially on top, who have children with special needs, is just that extra level of, oh my God, I'm finally on top of my things. Yeah, I had one client, we placed an au pair with her and she stayed with her for 2 years. She said, my biggest challenge was, it's not like you have that moment where everything falls apart, but she says, the tasks just keep creeping up and creeping up and creeping up. My list of tasks keeps growing. Yeah. And my team just doesn't do anything because I don't give them feedback long enough. Right.
Yeah.
So I have a big team of people, but the efficiency drops because I am not present for them. Yeah. And that's obviously changed with the au pair being there. She said, I have hired 30 new staff.
Wow.
That's a massive leap. And for me, that is the biggest success I could ever get. It means more to me than running a $150 million brand and launching another product on Woolies shelves. Just that personal connection, feel like I've helped another mom to get to her goal. It's just fantastic, priceless.
Absolutely. And that's why you do what you do. And I can see your passion, which is really beautiful. I think you've definitely hit the nail on the head. A lot of health professionals, we struggle in silence, and we then have that guilt, absolutely, the mum guilt, the parent guilt. And then we're not productive when we try to focus because we're so exhausted, having to run the household, do the kids' homework. My eldest is in year 1. He got homework from kindergarten, and we've got to consciously sit with him, and he's great at doing it. But I want to be a part of that journey. And for a long time, I wasn't. So I had to put certain things in place in my life. And the other thing that really, because I know you're an entrepreneur as well, working on your business, not just in it as well. So it frees you up. And that's a beautiful story right there.
Yeah, 100%. And I hear a lot from moms who say, actually, now I get to enjoy my children versus having to manage them through the day, right? Because again, even when you're reading with your children and you have 20 other things to finish before your battery runs out for the day, right? You have it all on my mind. What can I quickly squeeze in? Yeah, because before I pass out, literally, they can actually read the books with their children, listen to the story, have a conversation, listen to what happened in the day, maybe even fall asleep, right?
Yep.
Because someone else is looking after the rest. It's just nice. And it's a dance, right? You tag team every day and say, today I feel like I want to spend time with the kids. Yeah. Are you okay to close up the kitchen, right, for the day? And it's just so nice sometimes to have someone look after you. And that's our love languages as moms, right? Acts of service. 95% of all moms, number one love language, acts of service.
Yes, it's innate, isn't it? It's just ingrained in you. And you don't realize you're doing it a lot of the time. And then you forget yourself. So if someone was wanting to integrate an au pair into their family, what do they need to do, or how do they need to prepare, or what facilities do they need to have available so that they can do it smoothly and effectively?
Well, I think from physical things, obviously you need to have a spare room for the au pair. It's similar to if you have your mum flying in from far away, right? You want fully furnished and welcome them into your family, so integrate them into your life. Maybe you have dinner together once a day, so different families have different, again, lifestyles, what's possible to connect with them. But beyond that, first of all, you need to accept that you give up a little bit of your privacy. So no more running in jocks, for hubby. So definitely a bit more dressed. Another one is just very clear communication, right, of who does what. And the third one, I think, especially for moms, is in communication, is understand that if you rattle down the 30 jobs you've done before 9 a.m., everybody will run away, including your husband, right? So just be mindful and layer the task, right? Let's get the morning routine sorted. This is what needs to happen. These are the critical things. And then let them hand over, let them take ownership. and then let them run it their own way. It may be slightly different, just like your mom would do it slightly different, and you just take it with grace, right? It's done, right? And then obviously you take on other things, and it's almost introducing your culture, right, to the other person, because the way you stack your dishwasher, the way you cut, your children like their sandwiches, right? The way you communicate to your kids, and every child differently as well, right? Because one works really well with carrots, the other one just couldn't care less, right? about this. It's just how you communicate with them, and then delegate slowly but surely, and don't make the mistake of mothering your au pair, because you will have another child.
Yeah, you don't want that. You know what? It's so funny. One of my kids will take the carrots and refuse the chocolates. It's really funny. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, because if I guess if I had the facilities, an au pair would be a great help for us. So that's something maybe to look forward to in the future for those who can't quite get it now. You kind of know what it involves.
You're listening to Elevate, an audio series by Above It, with thanks to Above It Money by Level Up Loans. Elevate your finances and arrange an obligation-free 15-minute chat today at aboveit.com.au/money.
And then, you know what's come to mind? What do you expect an au pair to do? Is there a limit to what they can help you with? Do they do the washing? Do they do the cooking? Do some families expect them to do everything and burn them out? So you said layering is important. What are the expectations that a family can have of what an au pair can do?
I think an easy way to understand is basically everything that the children touch, would be an au pair's job, right? So again, the children have breakfast, tidy up after breakfast. The children have a play, we tidy up that Lego minefield, right? The children come from school, unpacking the bags, making lunch boxes. Again, depends on the ages of children, right? Their laundry, fold it, put it away, maybe making their bed. Again, potentially vacuuming if you have small children and toddlers, right? Vacuuming daily, especially if you have pets. What I would not expect au pairs to do is all those other heavy jobs in cleaning, right? Like cleaning your toilet, absolutely no go, right? That's your job. That's your toilet. Or cleaning windows. So basically everything that you need help with that has to do with kids. And obviously there's a component of sharing a space, right? If you think of shared accommodation, everybody has a duty to unstack the dishwasher, right? Everybody cooks at times. Again, you need to work with every individual. Some are amazing at cooking and others are amazing at laundry, right? You just play it by the ear and you utilize their talents and their interests. And I do have some au pairs who love cooking, right? Mm-hmm. And the family's like, please, nobody will fight you on this one. Take it. Right, just and they're happy to just not have that mental pressure of, oh my God, what are we going to cook for dinner, right? Yes. And so again, simple one. Whatever the children need, whatever the children touch becomes your role. But again, always offer the au pair. Do you want more hours? Do you want some extra jobs before they go look for some other jobs? And say, I had an au pair who loved to mow the lawns because she could get a nice tan. Yeah, she was stand all right at the end. Like, lawn is not on my list. I don't care. I couldn't care less. And she's like, can I please do it? And my husband's like, anytime. I'll pay you extra. Take it. He loved it. I think he's still dreaming of an au pair who would do the lawns, but it's not part of an au pair role, just to be clear.
Yeah, and do you know that's funny? Yeah, so I guess it's give and take. And do you notice that the host family usually takes in their au pair as part of their family and not as an outsider? I think that sounds like it would be the best relationship to have, where they might join them for dinner sometimes and they're not an outsider.
Again, it depends on your life stage sometimes, right? And depends how busy your life is. I would say the younger the children, the more you want the au pair to be involved, right? Because again, it's that relationship building, it's that bonding. But if the children are older, they're already like late primary school, and it's more like getting them to places, then it's more important that the au pair has a bond with the children and they have a great time. But then the parents literally just tag team and debrief every day. And then it's okay that the au pairs are probably older, they have their own hobbies, they have their own things, they have their own networks, and we make sure that they establish their networks quickly. It's always good on occasion to hey, we're heading to Sorrento, right, this weekend. Do you want to tag along to the beach? Yeah, it would be silly to say no, right? And often they also offer the au pairs to come with them on holidays, because then everybody gets a break, right? Even as parents. Depends where you go. And it's a good one. Alternatively, just give them time off. So it really depends on what your needs are, because sometimes, again, you are emotionally less invested or more invested, right? So it depends on how much you can give. And also you have phases in life where you are so busy, you don't have time to get out on weekends and do day trips, right? You just want to get through the weekend, catch up on sleep, and maybe do some gardening so you can, slow down your brain. And that's not the most amazing thing for au pairs to do. So you want somebody who is more independent, right? But at times when you are kind of in your adventure space and you travel a lot, especially during summers, you want an au pair who is like 100% in it and takes in everything you have. So both work really well at different stages.
Yeah, and that's where you come in to match the right people up, don't you?
Yeah.
Yep. So good. See, my kids, I've got 3, so my younger two are at preschool or early learning centers for 5 days a week, because I can't get any work done if they're home. And I'm sure a lot of parents and health professionals can relate to that. And I know my day stops at 2:45. So I'm like, I've got to maybe the next move we make, factor in a room for an au pair or someone to have that flexibility. I love flexibility. And with a lot of the early learning centers and preschools, there may not be flexibility. I've been to others that cook you meals. You can order meals to take home for dinner. So there's the help is out there for everyone. So if you're considering getting any form of support and what you're doing is not working, have a chat to Irene. And then you can see if it's for you, because it's not for everybody. And I know that in-home care is probably becoming more and more common, because it gives you that flexibility and you've got someone you trust with your children and to help you live your life, live your best life. So Irene, how do you see the future of in-home care evolving? Because I know you've been in the industry many, many years, and you can tell us how many years, and especially for those in high pressure jobs, high performing professionals, like in healthcare, and how you're adapting your business to help with that change.
Such an interesting question. We could debate on it for hours. But I remember looking back at university, I attended a lot of conferences because we had the time back then. And I attended a future search conference. And they said in 2030/2050, the focus on high performers will be they just do their role, highly focused, right? And they will have people to cook their meals or bring them meals, right? They will have people to clean their house, people to organize their days, planners, right? People to shop their wardrobes, people to look after their kids, drivers, etc. Right? So it's basically insourcing, but also outsourcing at the same time. And we see that today as well. We have HelloFresh boxes, right, that save us the thinking of what goes into a meal and the shopping part. We obviously have cleaners coming. We have au pairs. And I think it's very important to be able to delegate that thinking, because every minute of your time that is mentally spent on these things and take away from your most productive time, right? Because every hour of your time is worth a certain amount, right? If you spend that on all those other things that you actually often don't enjoy, like you want to spend time on things you enjoy, but everything that you don't enjoy, delegate it, right? Make it efficient, test it, and if it works, out, right? Because especially the things that nobody volunteers for, right? Like if you realize you and your partner both dread of certain things, that's a certain one to give away to someone else who loves doing it, and is happy to do it.
Because we're all different. We've all got different talents, don't we? And time is precious. Time is money, or time is valuable for you. And I know for a lot of professionals, even not just in health, you want to maximize your time and optimally perform when you're actually focused on your work.
Time is her most scarcest resource, right? She said you can't create time. You can only save it, and you can reframe it. So she said this is what we get out of it. Time.
Absolutely. Yeah, so it's about prioritizing. So how much do you value your time and what's not working for you? And if there's help out there, like with getting an au pair, chatting to Irene, and getting and you don't have to do what everyone else is doing, right? It's just do what's right for you.
100%, always. Especially to first-time moms, I always say, 100% of what you do is going to be wrong to somebody. Yeah. So at least just do what works for you, because you will be judged. Don't care. You'll learn to let it go, right? You'll learn not to care too much, and do what works for you, and pick the best of what cultures come from your side and your partners, and build your life, because it's your life. Don't live the Joneses' life.
Yeah, that's it. Like, we've never relied solely on the grandparents. I didn't want to commit them to that. It's time for them to live their life. They've brought us up, and they come visit whenever they like. But I'm not locking my parents into anything. So that's where getting an external party like an au pair to support you with that lifestyle is so important, because they actually want to do what they're doing. They are invested. They're enjoying a new country. They're enjoying learning English maybe, or a new set of values that you mentioned, or things that you do, and figuring out their life as well, and what they like to do. And for the host family, it can be daunting having a stranger in your home, can't it?
It can be. I think there's definitely a bit of awkwardness in the beginning, which we work through very quickly to say, well, like, what works, what doesn't work, and get people into the comfort zone of asking uncomfortable questions, like, tell me one thing that didn't work this week, right? Tell me one thing you need, or how did that go? Should we change that around? It's like finding those friction moments, and like, let's iron them out, right? And there will be moments where a child has a meltdown at a drop off at kinder, right? Like, let's work through this. Okay, I mean, we've had those at least 10 times in the last 3 months. Like, this is what I tried. Let's give it a go, right? And you work through it together. You're basically teaching your mini-me. And often I say, well, we only have this many years experience, advanced experience in front of you, right? And often if people have younger children, they're like, well, we have 12 months advance, right? Yeah. So this is all we have to share. And often the au pairs will come with actually much more experience. I think it's all about figuring out what do you need at the moment, right? And it might not be an au pair at this stage, right? It might be something else. But as you move along and need more flexibility and need more stability, need more one-on-one support, because we also have families where they had to complain to the education department where their child was neglected at childcare, right? And of course, as a parent, you feel so much pain that your child is one of, 16, not looked after, didn't get the nappy change for many hours, right? Was in the sun, without water, all those things. So if you want a bit more comfort, right, and peace of mind, that's pretty good, because you know your children are in your home, right, and they're safe, and somebody is following them around the whole time and spending time with them. So that's important. And also your kids grow very comfortable being around different people, different personalities, right? Social network is more complex than mom and dad.
Yes.
Yeah? And they need to understand that this person is more fun, and this person is actually more fun to cook things, and this person actually gives me cuddles, right? So they choose the people for their needs, and they grow more comfortable to also approaching people and say, hey, I'm so-and-so. And they also become more comfortable with different cultures as well.
Yes, and they can even learn a new language. Like my kids at their preschool, one's learning Mandarin because one of the teachers teach them, like, great, learn as many languages as you can. So
yeah, and it becomes very interesting for parents when the children start primary school and start learning new language. And they're like, actually, we would love a French au pair now, because our children learn French. And then they can have conversations, and naturally they'll pick up things. It's really great. But also cultural things. Like my daughter once came and said, Mommy, you know what Alessandro does? He does this. Wow. And I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, can you explain? Is it 2 fingers, 3 fingers? What does he do? She's like, you take 3 fingers, you put it in your mouth, you do mwah. When does he do it? She's like, when he's very happy.
Oh, that's so cute. And look, you don't necessarily have to travel. The travel comes to you, so you learn all of that.
Yeah, and again, you just I think if you well traveled as a family, or as a person, then you will understand how nice it is to actually have that exposure. And as you say, if you can't travel, bring the world to you. And I also sometimes say it's the family you choose, right?
Yes.
You can sometimes, because our parents, we also come with baggage, right? They trigger our childhood trauma sometimes because they've been too strict, or they've been too demanding, or laissez-faire, or whatever. And here you can actually tell somebody, can you please do this? and I'll actually go and do this.
No resistance, right? No
Resistance
judging and
and just
resistance.
support, yeah. And the more you appreciate, say, oh my God, you're the most important person in my life right now, which I've heard a lot of moms say. And your peers will be like, oh my God, yes, 100%.
Yeah, I remember growing up in the 80s. We basically hung around our cousins. So our network, our circle of friends was not very big. And I want my kids to have that extended network. Networking is massive. You need it. People need it. So it was great hanging out with my cousins, but I wasn't exposed to a lot of different cultures and people apart from school. So yeah, it would have been great to travel more. We didn't travel overseas. We kind of went locally. So I want to give that to my kids as well. And how good is it to have an au pair and you take them along with you and you don't have to hire a nanny or have a complete stranger looking after your kids while you're away.
Yeah. No, we had lots of au pairs traveling with us in India, right? Bali, Germany. So it's really good exposure. And for the kids as well, even after their au pair placement, one of the au pairs is our son's godmother now, right?
Wow.
And we catch up every 2 years. Yeah. And for him, he's got obviously a special bond with her. My daughter's got a special bond with her. And now the baby comes into the mix. And she's basically adopted auntie, right?
That's right.
And it's just beautiful to see. And I'm pretty sure when they're old enough, they'll say, can I go and stay with Liddy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, when you go study, you can go, just get
And
your
how
wildlife out of it. And I have somebody I can trust.
Yeah, so absolutely. How comfortable your kid wants to go overseas and study abroad for a year or two or stay there, and they have someone that will care for them, which is really lovely. So good. Thank you so much, Irene. Is there anything else you'd love to share with us that's kind of come up in our conversation before we go today?
One of my neighbors, she's in her 80s. I gave her really good advice. She said, love your children, but don't forget your husband. Yeah. So I think nurture your relationship and make space for that relationship. And I think accepting help elsewhere gives you, again, focus on, getting out for that date night, giving yourself time for self-care. So you actually look fresh, feel fresh, and actually want to spend time with your husband, right? And I think that's really important because the quality of life increases and you give more love when you feel looked after.
Yeah, it's so important. It all starts from within, doesn't it? It's all, if you're unhappy within yourself, then your whole world's going to seem like it's a big mountain of troubles. So start peeling back the layers, like the banana. Start peeling it back and expose what you need to work on and get the help you need. This is in all parts.
Know you're worth it, right?
Yes.
So do not think it's too expensive or it's cheaper if I do it myself. No, right? Because at some point, if you have a breakdown, right, if you develop postnatal depression, nobody's getting to be helped, right? Because you've done 30 jobs. So lower the expectations, delegate, look after yourself. Your hubby will love you much more for that.
Yep. Your partners, you need to completely stay connected with your partners. You've got one dream, one mission, and you want a happy home for your children. And if we're super stressed, then they're going to pick up on it.
100%.
Yep. Oh, that's been so beautiful today, Irene. Thank you so much, Irene, from 99 Au Pairs. We've been enlightened. It's a whole new world for me. And I thought, well, I would love to, because I've known Irene for several months now, I would absolutely love for you to explore that if it's something that you have thought about or are on the fence about, or if it's something new and you want to find out more. All the links to your website will be with this post here or this podcast. So feel free to contact Irene and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, let's have a chat. Just think of me like the cool mom who you want to drink wine with. Yeah. And I'll tell you all I know.
I love it. Such wisdom. A mum of 3 kids, a fellow mum of 3 kids. We know the challenges that we face, and it's all about making your life easier, elevating your life. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you at the next episode. Bye, Irene. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
You've been listening to Elevate, an audio series by Above It, with thanks to Above It Money by Level Up Loans. Elevate your finances and arrange an obligation-free 15-minute chat today at aboveit.com.au/money. The information provided here is for general informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. We strongly recommend consulting with a qualified professional to address your specific needs. We are not liable for any decisions made based on the content provided.